modern world, that is History of Standard 10. Chapter 1, American War of Independence. A revolution as a social phenomenon generally means a recognizably momentous change in any situation or field of activity. The changes are sudden and quick. A revolution means a fundamental change brought about intentionally. The 18th century world witnessed 3 great revolutions. Out of that, in this chapter we are going to study the first one, the American War of Independence. Flanked by the Atlantic Ocean on the east and the Pacific on the west, the continent of America remained isolated from the rest of the world for many centuries. The European explorers Christopher Columbus, John Cabot and Amerigo Vespucci were mainly responsible for discovering the northern, eastern and the central parts of the American continent in the 15th century. This discovery of new land opened the floodgates for the colonizers from countries of Europe. Among them were Spain, England, France, Netherlands and Portugal. England founded 13 colonies on the eastern seaboard of North America during the period 1606 to 1732. Each colony faced some problems which were resolved locally. To begin with, there was not much of confrontation between the colonies and the mother country, as her control was only nominal. The situation, however, began to change radically in the later half of the 18th century. A war broke out between England and France over possession of certain areas in Ohio and elsewhere in the North America. This is known as the 7 Years' War. It was fought in America as well as Europe. The war concluded with the Treaty of Paris, whereby England acquired possession from France of Canada and all lands lying between the Appalachian Mountains and the Mississippi River. As this newly acquired territory was temporarily reserved as Red Indian hunting grounds, this enraged many colonies. As England was facing enormous financial problems due to the 7 Years' War, to raise revenue, the Sugar Act of 1764 was passed by the British Parliament. It imposed a tariff duty on sugar imported into America from the West Indies. The Stamp Act of 1765 levied stamp duty on newspapers, legal documents, insurance policies, ship's papers and licenses, and even playing cards. The Stamp Act was severely condemned by the colonies, and protestations took the form of boycott of British goods and civil disobedience. The colonies on their part insisted that taxation without their consent expressed personally or through representatives was a violation of their rights. They declared no taxation without representation. Once again the British Parliament gave in. The Parliament tried to rescue the East India Company from her financial difficulties by the Tea Act. By this act, the company acquired a monopoly of the tea trade. The Dartmouth, first of the 3 ships carrying boxes of tea, arrived in Boston Harbor on 27 November 1773. People were agitated over the issue of the levy of duty on tea. They wanted the ship to go back to England. As this demand was not considered, some 8,000 people assembled near Boston's Old South Church. A group of men disguised as Mohawk Indians rushed onto the ship at night and dumped all the chaff of the tea into the sea. This event is known as Boston Tea Party, 16 December 1773 in American history. On account of the presence of the British Army, the army was seen by the colonies as an attempt to control them. The incident known as Boston Massacre clashes between the colonists and the redcoats, meaning the British soldiers. The general resentment against the various taxes and restrictions imposed by England was instrumental in bringing about unity amongst the colonies. The First Continental Congress was convened on 5 September 1774 at Philadelphia, but there was no positive response from the British King George III. The delegates met for the second time at Philadelphia, and this time George Washington was appointed as the chief of the Continental Forces. England officially declared war with the 13 colonies on 23 August 1775. The colonies proclaimed the Declaration of Independence on 4 July 1776. Thomas Jefferson was the architect of the draft of the American Declaration of Independence, and the declaration read, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute a new government." The Continental forces under George Washington emerged victorious. Thus, United States of America USA came into existence. George Washington was sworn in as the first president of the 13 United States. In the course of time, 37 new states were added, and today the USA comprises a total 50 states. The American War of Independence is regarded as an event having far-reaching effects on the world history.